Once, a wise and respected monk had spent his life guiding people and teaching them about living a simple, peaceful life. When his time came to leave this world, he called his young successor to his side. With his last breath, he whispered a strange piece of advice.
Remember, never let a cat into your life.
Then the monk closed his eyes and peacefully passed away. The people gathered around were puzzled. They had come to hear the monk's final words of wisdom, but all he left them with was this mysterious warning about a cat. The young successor thought to himself,
"Why would a monk's last words be about a cat? Is this truly the most important thing he wanted to tell me?"
Just then, an old follower of the monk, who was also present, stepped forward. This man had known the monk for many years and understood the deeper meaning behind his last words. He said, "There's a story behind this warning. The monk only gave you the end of it. Let me tell you the whole story so you understand why he said what he did." The old follower began. Many years ago, when the monk was young, he decided to leave behind his home, family, and all his possessions. He wanted to live a simple life with nothing to distract him from prayer, meditation, and the search for inner peace. So he went to live in the mountains near a small village. The people in this village admired him deeply. They respected his wisdom and dedication to his path, so they built a small bamboo hut for him to live in. The monk lived a very simple life. He had only 2 pieces of clothing because his beliefs taught him to own as little as possible. He dedicated all his time to meditation and spiritual growth. But as time passed, he ran into a small problem. Mice began sneaking into his hut and chewing on his clothes. Soon, the monk realized that if this continued, he would have no clothes left. This worried him because he wasn't allowed to own more than 2 pieces of clothing, according to his beliefs. One day, he shared this problem with the villagers. They listened carefully and suggested,
"Why don't you take a cat? A cat will chase away the mice, and then your clothes will be safe."
The monk thought this was a good idea, so the villagers brought him a cat. Sure enough, the cat scared away the mice, and the monk's clothes were safe once more. But soon, he found himself facing a new problem. The cat needed milk, so every day, when he went begging for his own food, he also had to ask for some milk for the cat. The villagers noticed this and came up with another solution. They suggested,
"If we buy you a cow, you will have plenty of milk for both yourself and the cat. This way you won't need to ask for milk every day."
The monk agreed, and soon he had his own cow. Now he didn't have to worry about getting milk for the cat. But as time went on, another problem appeared. The cow needed grass to eat, and every day the monk had to go back to the village to ask for grass. The villagers were concerned. They thought it wasn't right for a monk to be asking for grass all the time. So they came up with yet another solution. They said,
"There's a woman in our village who is alone. Her husband passed away, and she has no one to care for. Perhaps she would be willing to help you. She can live nearby and take care of the cow, grow grass, and even help you if you ever fall ill."
The woman agreed and moved into a small house next to the monk. She worked hard every day, taking care of the cow, growing grass, and even planting wheat so they would have food. She and the monk spent a lot of time together, working in the field and helping each other. Over time, they grew close, and soon enough, they fell in love and started a family. Eventually, they had children, and the monk's life became filled with the joys and responsibilities of family life. One day, as the monk looked at his little family, he suddenly realized that he was right back where he had started. He had left behind his home, family, and everything he owned to live a simple life. And yet, here he was again, with a home, a family, and a busy life full of responsibilities. It all began with a single small choice, taking in a cat to chase away the mice. Little by little, one small choice had led to another, and eventually, he found himself back in the very life he had once left behind. That's why, on his deathbed, the monk had told his successor, "Never let a cat into your life." He meant that even small choices can lead to big changes, and sometimes these changes can pull us away from our true path. The monk wanted his successor to understand that staying focused on what really matters requires being careful even with small decisions, as they can grow into something much bigger than we expect. And so, the young successor learned an important lesson that day. He understood that life's distractions often start small, but they can quickly lead us down a different path if we're not careful. The people who heard the story also took away a reminder to stay focused on what truly matters, and to be mindful of every choice they make, no matter how small it may seem.